If you're expecting your Social Security check to hit in March 2026, you need to stop and watch this right now. Here's what the SSA confirmed, but most people completely missed. Because March 1st, 2026 falls on a Saturday, the Social Security Administration has already moved your March SSI payment to Friday, February 27th. That means if you're an SSI recipient, your March payment will land in your account in February, and there will be no separate deposit hitting in March at all. Zero. Nothing showing up that month. And this isn't just happening in March. The same thing is scheduled for August and November of 2026 as well. Now, this does not mean you're losing money. Your payment is not being cut, canceled, or delayed. It's arriving early, but only if you know to look for it. Millions of seniors are going to check their bank accounts in March, see nothing, and panic, calling their bank, calling the SSA, assuming something went wrong. Don't let that be you. On top of this, the SSA is also operating with a significantly reduced workforce after roughly 7,000 job cuts, which means wait times for resolving payment issues are longer than ever. Knowing your correct payment dates in advance isn't optional anymore. It's essential. Stay right here, because we're breaking down the full 2026 payment schedule so you never get caught off guard again. So let's talk about exactly what is happening here. Because there is a lot of confusion going around, and most of the information people are finding online is either incomplete, buried in government jargon, or just plain misleading. The Social Security Administration has a very specific and structured way of sending out your payments, and the rules around that schedule are something every single beneficiary in this country needs to fully understand. Especially right now in 2026, when so much has changed at the agency that manages your money. Let's start from the very beginning so nobody gets left behind. The SSA does not just send everyone their check on the same day. That is a big misconception a lot of people have. Your payment date is determined by two things: the type of benefit you receive and the day of the month you were born. If you receive SSI, which stands for Supplemental Security Income, your payment is typically issued on the first of every month. If you receive regular Social Security retirement or disability benefits, and you started receiving those benefits after May of 1997, then your payment date is set based on your birthday. If your birthday falls between the 1st and the 10th of the month, you get paid on the second Wednesday of each month. If your birthday falls between the 11th and the 20th, you get paid on the third Wednesday. And if your birthday falls between the 21st and the 31st, you get paid on the fourth Wednesday. Now, if you started receiving Social Security before May of 1997, or if you receive both Social Security and SSI at the same time, your Social Security payment comes on the third of each month, and your SSI comes on the first. That is the basic structure, and it never really changes. What does change, however, is when those scheduled dates fall on a weekend or a federal holiday. And that is exactly where March 2026 comes into play, and this is the part you absolutely cannot miss. March 1st, 2026 falls on a Sunday. The SSA has a strict rule. They do not send payments on weekends or federal holidays. So instead of waiting until Monday, March 2nd, they actually move the payment to the preceding business day. That means your March SSI payment was already issued on Friday, February 27th, 2026. It did not disappear. It did not get canceled. It went out early, in February, and it covered your March benefit. So if you were expecting a deposit to hit your account on March 1st and nothing showed up, that is why. Your March money was already in your bank account before March even started. Now here is where people are getting genuinely confused and even frightened. Because that payment came in February, there is no separate SSI deposit scheduled for the entire month of March. You will not see an SSI payment land in your bank account at any point during March. For anyone who was not aware of this schedule change, it looks like their check simply did not come. And that panic is completely understandable. When you are living on a fixed income and that deposit is what pays for your groceries, your prescription medications, your utilities, and your rent, seeing nothing in your account when you expect money is terrifying. But the key thing to hold on to here is that you were already paid. You just received your March benefit in February. This is not a glitch, it is not a cut, and it is not the government holding back your money. It is simply the SSA following the exact schedule they are required to follow by law. And this is not the only time it will happen in 2026 either. The same situation is going to repeat itself 2 more times this year. It will happen again in August 2026 and again in November 2026. In both of those months, the first falls on a date that requires the SSA to move the SSI payment to the last business day of the previous month. So if you know someone who is going to be watching their account and wondering where their money is, please make sure you share this information with them now before those months arrive. Because the alternative, calling the SSA in a panic, waiting on hold for hours, showing up at a field office in confusion, is something you can completely avoid just by knowing the schedule in advance. Now, speaking of calling the SSA and showing up at field offices, we need to talk about the current state of the Social Security Administration itself, because this is something that affects every single one of you, whether you realize it or not. Over the course of 2025, the SSA lost more than 6,600 employees. That is more than 11% of its entire workforce, gone in a single year. And the impact of that is being felt right now, today, by millions of American seniors trying to get help. Organizations that work directly with seniors on the ground are reporting a 50% increase in calls related to Social Security confusion. Some seniors are showing up at field offices and waiting 5 hours or more just to speak with someone. The phone lines are not much better. The number of calls coming into the SSA has skyrocketed, from about 6.5 million calls in November of last year to over 10.4 million calls just months later. But there are fewer people on the other end of those phones to answer them. This is the reality of what is happening inside the agency that manages your benefits right now. And what makes this particularly difficult for seniors is that the SSA is simultaneously trying to push more and more services online. They are encouraging people to manage everything through a My Social Security account on SSA.gov. But the truth is, millions of older Americans do not have reliable internet access, have not set up online accounts, or simply are not comfortable navigating those digital systems without help. And now, the in-person help they used to be able to get at their local field office is harder and harder to access. Some rural field offices have closed down entirely due to lack of staffing. In 33 states across the country, staffing levels at SSA offices dropped by at least 10%. Wyoming saw nearly a 20% drop. Missouri and Wisconsin each saw 14% reductions. These are not small numbers. These are the people who were supposed to answer your questions, process your paperwork, and make sure your benefits were handled correctly. What this means practically for you is that if you do have a problem with your payment, a real problem, not a misunderstanding about the schedule, it is going to take longer to resolve than it would have a year ago. In the first half of 2025, the average wait time for an initial disability determination was already 7 months. That is twice what it was before the pandemic. And with fewer trained staff now than there were at any point in recent history, those wait times are likely to stretch even further. This is why understanding your payment dates before any confusion happens is so critically important. The less you need to call or visit the SSA for a misunderstanding about the schedule, the better off you are, because when you do have a real issue that actually requires their help, you want to be spending your time on that, not on unnecessary calls. Let's also talk about your benefit amount in 2026, because this is another area where people have questions. The Social Security Administration applied a 2.8% cost of living adjustment for 2026. That COLA went into effect starting with January 2026 payments. For the average retired worker, this brought monthly payments to approximately $2,071. For SSI recipients, the maximum federal benefit for an individual in 2026 is $994 per month. For eligible couples, that amount is $1,491 per month. And for essential persons, meaning someone who lives with an SSI recipient and provides necessary care, the amount is $498 per month. These are the federal base amounts. Depending on the state you live in, you may also receive a small supplemental payment on top of the federal SSI amount, because some states add their own funds to boost SSI benefits for residents. If you are not sure whether your state does this, you can check directly on the SSA website or call your state's social services office for clarification. Now, a lot of people have also been asking about whether there were any proposed changes to disability benefit rules that could affect older Americans. This is a topic that created a lot of alarm late in 2025, and you deserve to know the full truth about it. The SSA did briefly consider a policy change that would have removed or significantly changed how age is factored into disability eligibility determinations. Under the existing rules, being over 50 makes it easier to qualify for disability benefits because the SSA recognizes that older workers have a harder time learning entirely new types of work. There was a proposal to change or eliminate that age factor, which would have made it significantly harder for older Americans, particularly those between 50 and 65, to qualify for disability benefits. After significant pushback from advocates, lawmakers, and the public, that proposal was pulled back. It did not go into effect. The age factor remains in place for now. But advocates are watching closely because conversations about adjusting disability criteria have not gone away entirely. Here is something else you need to know if you are keeping track of your payments throughout the year. Your SSDI payment schedule for 2026, based on your birthday, looks like this. If your birthday is between the 1st and 10th of the month, your payment dates this year are the second Wednesday of each month. For example, March 11th, April 8th, May 13th, June 10th, July 8th, August 12th, September 9th, October 14th, November 10th, and December 9th. If your birthday is between the 11th and the 20th, you're on the third Wednesday. So March 18th, April 15th, May 20th, June 17th, July 15th, August 19th, September 16th, October 21st, November 18th, and December 16th. And if your birthday falls between the 21st and the 31st, you're on the fourth Wednesday, March 25th, April 22nd, May 27th, June 24th, July 22nd, August 26th, September 23rd, October 28th, November 25th, and December 23rd. Write these dates down. Put them on your refrigerator. Program them into your phone. Because knowing exactly when to expect your money takes away so much unnecessary stress, especially in months where the schedule shifts. Let's also quickly address what you should do if your payment genuinely does not arrive on time. The SSA actually asks that you wait 3 additional mailing days before taking action, because sometimes processing delays happen. If your payment is being sent via direct deposit and it still has not shown up 3 business days after your scheduled date, your first call should be to your bank or financial institution, not to the SSA. Sometimes the delay is on the bank's end, and they can confirm whether the deposit is pending or processing. If your bank says there is no pending deposit from the SSA at all, then you can contact the Social Security Administration directly. The national SSA phone number is 1-800-772-1213. Be prepared for the possibility of a wait. And if you are able to create an account on ssa.gov under My Social Security, that online portal gives you access to your payment history, your scheduled dates, your benefit verification letters, and a lot of other tools that can help you confirm your payment status without ever having to get on the phone. The bottom line here is this: your money is not going away. The SSA is not cutting your March check. The system is doing exactly what it is supposed to do. But the environment around Social Security right now, the staffing reductions, the office closures, the longer wait times, The push toward digital services that not everyone can access is creating a level of confusion and anxiety among seniors that is completely understandable. You are not wrong to be paying close attention. You are not overreacting. The changes happening at the SSA are real, they are significant, and they directly affect the quality of service you receive. The best thing you can do right now is arm yourself with accurate information. Know your payment dates, keep records of your benefit statements, and make sure you have a My Social Security account set up if at all possible. Stay with this channel because we are going to keep bringing you updates on every single change, adjustment, and development at the Social Security Administration throughout 2026. You deserve to have clear, factual, easy-to-understand information, not confusing government documents, not alarming headlines that leave out the full picture, but the real truth about what is happening and what it means for your life. Share this video with someone you know who receives Social Security, because there are a lot of people right now sitting at home wondering what happened to their March check, and they need to see this.